Hello, my name is Susan and I'd like to talk to you today about the role of antidepressants, anti-anxiety medications at the moment and the practice of psychiatry. Okay, well, this is a big one for me because I've wanted to do this video for quite some time, but I have been holding back. I don't like to be confronting with people or to negate anyone, so I feel we all have a role to play on the planet. However, what I'm seeing at the moment is extremely disturbing, and it's not just at the moment, I've been seeing it for some time, and it disturbs me, so I'd just like to have a chat with you about it. I'm finding a lot more people on antidepressants, anti-anxiety medications simply for being pissed off about work. Maybe they're feeling grief or sadness at loss, the loss of a job, the loss of someone they love, the loss of a lifestyle. Maybe they're feeling angry because they're not actually achieving what they want to achieve. There's many different reasons for depression. What is depression? It's depression. It's depress something. And so anxiety is about not being able to control something. More importantly, not being able to control the outside world, feeling you're at the mercy of the outside world. You can't control your life because you're at the mercy of the outside world, right? So that causes anxiety, and I find a lot of sensitives and empaths get anxiety quite often because their energy is more external than it is internal. So I feel that the role of medication is being abused. And what grieves me, it actually grieves me, is the fact that people are given these medications like lollies for everything, for menopause, for, they're giving people antidepressants for menopause. They're giving people antidepressants for fibromyalgia. They're giving people antidepressants for certain physical illnesses to cope with it. I mean, what is wrong with this world? And what's really annoying me, why this came to my attention, is a few people that I know that I've met lately through my work have gone to psychiatrists, and the first thing they do is put them on medication, and then they say to them, they don't even connect with them. They don't build up any sort of rapport or trust. They don't do any therapy at all. They just talk to them every week. So they're basically, what they do is they hook you in for the next 20, 30 years, that you have to come to them once a week and then maybe once a month. So they've got you for a lifetime almost. And all they're doing is changing meds, giving you different meds, doing talk therapy, which is just to talk about your life. And what happens with talk therapy is that, say for instance, you had a traumatic childhood, which has created this issue that you have in your life, this response to life, not response, a reaction to life. So then you go into a job, and your job basically becomes your family. So there'll be people in your job that represent the people in your childhood that abused you. So that cycle continues, and then you'll have friendships like that as well, or people that you meet in the street. So you're going to the psychiatrist and you're talking about all of this, and you know what they did, and and this happened and that happened, and I feel, I don't feel fulfilled or whatever. And the psychiatrist, okay, we better change your meds, or, they're not actually getting to the root of the problem, the core issue. They're just covering it up with medication so that you're going back. So they're making you addicted not only to the meds but to themselves. And this is a crime against you. It's a crime against humanity that's happening at the moment. Now, when I studied many years ago, 35 years ago when I studied, we studied all the different forms of mental health. We studied all the different, medications, obviously, but there wasn't that many, to be honest. There wasn't that many. Now, if I had to go study all this now, I would be agog with how many different medications, and I'm pretty sure although I don't have evidence of this, but I just have a feeling, and I'm pretty sure my gut instinct says that when they're being educated, they're educated in big pharma and not in actually helping people. And this is an issue. So if you're going to someone and and you walk out feeling worse than when you came in. Now, when you go to therapy, there will be days when you've gone through something really deep and you will feel like shit when you leave. But you'll still be this underlying of hope and sometimes relief of what you've just let go of. And you won't feel discarded by the person that you've seen. You see, I was sort of in mainstream for a while, and then I removed myself from it because I didn't adhere to the ground rules. I wanted to go into alternatives. I wanted to look at different ways to help people. And because of that, I wasn't covered by health insurance. So people couldn't come to me under health insurance. And that's also a big factor for people. People go, oh, well, you know, she charges this, but under this I can go with my health insurance and just supplement it for this amount. But, you know, when you compare the two things, do you want to go to someone that you're getting covered on your health insurance, it's ignoring you, disrespecting you, just giving you tablets and not actually really helping you, because those tablets are damaging your brain? Long-term abuse and use of any medication is going to change the chemical structure of your brain, which is why you can't just go off them. People who just go off them often have psychotic episodes, or they feel like they're going mad. They have a really hard time. So I'm not advising anyone to go off their medication at all unless it's under some sort of supervision, because it's really dangerous. It's really dangerous, and that should show you something. And let me tell you something else. When a person is a child, so up till 21 to 25, depending, females is 21, men is 25, you're still growing. You're still physiologically, biologically growing and developing. So giving children Ritalin, antidepressants, antipsychotics, which some of them they're doing for children who are crying, and you can look that up. It's all there. The information's all there. You know, don't be lazy. Do your research. And you know, anti-anxiety. What they're doing is they're stunting the growth of certain parts of your brain from developing. So how hard is it going to be for them when they become young adults to navigate life? Because emotionally, they're not present. Because maybe they've been deemed over-emotional, uncontrollable, ADHD. Uncontrollable children were, you know, 50s and 60s and 70s, and then they went into ADHD, you know, because they needed to give it a different term. In psychology and psychiatry, they're constantly reinventing different terms for the same shit. They're constantly doing it, you know. I stick my finger in every now and again, and I go, oh my God, it's just another term for this and that and the other. It's just hilarious because somebody wants to write a paper and get an award for it, you know, that they had an original thought. And also they want to try and change the structure of it and how the world at large thinks about these things and operates. So if you're going to someone and you're thinking, well, yeah, I'm getting it on my medical, they're giving me medication or what have you, I don't want to go to someone who's actually going to make me go into my shit. And I might feel bad for, you know, a few weeks because I'm remembering things and I'm recognizing things. And I might feel anger and I might feel despair. But the thing is that it's better to go into that and feel it with someone. Because this is what happens with me, right? People will come and for years they've been suppressing because they're afraid to really look at something. And then I'll say to them, okay, but that's taking you an awful lot of energy, because when you, let's put it like this, you wake up in the morning, you have 5 units of energy. And by the time you've brushed your teeth and had breakfast, you've already used 2 units of energy to push down anything that you may be feeling. Any memories, any emotions, that are still lingering from an event that you had. You're pushing it down, you want to forget about it, you're suppressing it, right? So that's, now you've only got 3 and you haven't even walked out your front door yet to do a day's work, but you're running on 3 points of energy. By the time lunchtime comes and you navigated some problems or issues at work, or just dealing with people in general can, you know, so now you've got down another unit, you've got 2 units left. So you've got 2 units left and you're only at midday. How on earth are you going to instigate change in your life if most of the units of energy that you're using are suppressing what's blocking you from changing your life? So, you know, people would come to me and we'd sort of go over that. We'd build up a rapport, because you can't work with someone unless they trust you. So when you go in to see a psychiatrist or another therapist and they're authoritative and they're like this and they're distant from you and they're writing instead of looking at you and all they're doing is talk therapy with you, you're not getting to the core. There's no rapport, there's no trust. You probably leave feeling, what was that all about? Or feeling a bit empty, or feeling even more isolated and alone, because what you're looking for is connection. You're looking for some understanding, that someone actually gets how you feel and may be able to help you so that you don't have to feel that anymore. And what happens when you go to people like that, you get used to this suppression, depression. You get used to it, avoiding. So when you come to someone like me and I go ping, 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 and you have to feel it, you get afraid. You go, oh, I don't know if I like that feeling. I don't like that feeling. Why? Because you've been suppressing it for years. It's uncomfortable. Life can be uncomfortable. You're not going to have a perfect life. People are going to leave you. People are going to die. People are going to have accidents. People are going to lose their job. They're going to break up relationships. Life is uncomfortable. How you navigate it denotes on whether or not you get through it, and you make the necessary changes to improve your life after the event. Because often these events are there to challenge you, bigger picture. So, you know, people have been suppressing this for 10, 15, 20, sometimes 30 years or more. And finally they get to feel it. You know, we use techniques, they get to feel it. And it can be exhausting. It can be exhausting. And you can leave feeling wiped out. You just want to crawl into bed, continue crying, because the realization of what you've been holding down for so long has suddenly hit you and it's all coming up. But in a day or two, you're going to feel amazing, amazing. And then sometimes you'll have sessions where it'll be so much easier because now you're used to letting things go. So, you know, I get people who've been going to someone. They've been going to different people, they've released some stuff, they understand, they've read, they've learnt, they've studied, they understand how to let things go and navigate. So for them, the work is quick and it's easy, and it's you know, right afterwards they'll feel this sense of relief and they'll feel comfortable. But for people who've been burying it for a long time, that's not the same journey. They're not going to feel the same way. And that's absolutely normal, right? So yeah, you could say, okay, I'm going to this person, I can get it on my medical and it's going to cost me less, but you know, I've still got the meds, but I can get that refunded as well partly. But what sort of quality of life are you living? But I can go to someone like Susan and I can pay for that. But what I'm paying for is my life. I'm paying to get myself back. I'm paying to be in receipt of my empowerment, my self-respect, and my love for myself. I'm paying to learn techniques that are going to guide me through life. Because for me, it's not about making you codependent on me and seeing you for the rest of my life and the rest of your life. Because if that's the case, I'm not very good at my job. My job, my honest to goodness job, is to guide you into the situation where you don't need to come and see me. And you might like me as a person, and you might drop me a line every now and again, which happens. I have people, when I moved back to Australia a few years ago, I had an old client of mine who Googled me, you know, and found that I was back in Australia, contact me and say, oh, I just want to tell you how much you changed my life 20 years ago and what's happened with my life since then. Everything's good. I don't need your help. I just want to tell you this because I've thought about you so often and the impact that you had in my life. And I just happened to think of you the other day, and I tried again to Google you, and I found you because I wasn't on social media, or I wasn't, you know, I didn't do the internet. When I left Australia, the internet was, I think it was just being born or something, you know, it wasn't really, mobile phones weren't really the thing either. So I didn't stay in contact with clients. They couldn't stay in contact with me, you know. These days it's much easier, and I hear from people every now and again, and they'll say, oh, I just wanted to tell you, you know, this happened and that happened, or I'm having another baby, or something like that, you know, because you formulate a bond between you and that person. It's a bond of trust. It's a bond of really allowing someone to know you. And if I'm judging you, you will never feel that way. How many times have I heard people say to me, oh, you won't like me if you hear what I've done. Or you won't like, you know, you'll judge me or whatever. I say, no, I won't. I won't judge you. I won't judge you at all. Because I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to reach into your heart and find out who you are. Because what you've done is a reaction to life and a reaction to how you've been treated. It's not a response. And I'm here to help you to respond to life, not react to it. So that's what it's really about. So if you're on medication, I'm not asking you to go off it. That would be very dangerous, like I've said. But consider the fact that you probably need to go deeper into what's going on. Now, what the psychiatrist and that will tell you is, once we get you on the medication, then we can go deeper. No, that's not how it works. Because if you're on medication, you've disconnected part of your brain. You can't feel those emotions anymore. So you can't go in and navigate the reason you're depressed or you're anxious. You can't navigate it. The only thing you need medication for is schizophrenia, but not all forms of schizophrenia. Schizophrenia, paranoia, and psychotic behavior. Okay, some bipolar, because if it's really bipolar, look, I've had clients being diagnosed with bipolar and they're not bipolar at all. Bipolar is a chemical reaction to life. So if the person is giving you a medication without doing full blood work, a full analysis of you, they have no idea whether you're bipolar or not. Schizophrenia is also biochemical, some forms of schizophrenia. So if the person isn't giving you a full analysis, not just on what you're saying and what you're presenting, but on your biochemical makeup, they cannot make an informed decision as to what is really going on with you. And that's the truth, and they don't tell you that. And I know I'm going to cap a lot of flack for this. But I need to tell you, because I am fed up. I am fed up with hearing people that are coming to me and they feel like crap because they've gone to thankfully, they've gone to 3 or 4 people, received the same bullshit everywhere they've gone, and something inside them has told them not to take the meds and to seek out someone else. And yes, they have to pay me, and it's not on their medical health, because I don't want to be associated with that. Why? Because they muck around with you and they try and force you into an arena you don't want to be part of. They try to control you as a therapist, and I don't want to do that. And it's not because I'm some weirdo and I'm telling people to do wacky things. It's because I care about you. I made a decision to help people. I didn't make a decision to abuse people and to make them dependent on me. My job is to turn you into an adult, to be self-sufficient and to be codependent, not codependent, sorry, interdependent, not codependent or completely dependent. right? Because codependent means I can't live without you, I can't do this without you, I can't do this without help. You know, independent means I don't know, I don't want no one, I don't want no one. I can do it all by myself. You can't do anything. But interdependence is that balance of understanding. I can do nothing on my own, but when I seek out advice and help, I'm also have a big element of control in what's going on. Right? Because if you don't like what's happening, you should be able to get up and walk out. Not feel at the mercy of that person. And not feel fear. And not enter a room thinking, oh my God, what am I going to say? You know, I've had so many people who've come directly from their psychiatrist to me, I can't even tell you. And the stories they tell me are shocking. And I'm constantly telling them, you need to write a letter of complaint, but they won't. They won't, because they won't even stand up to the abuse that happened to them as a child. How are they going to stand up to someone who's now in authority of them? And against the whole regime of that authority. It's too overwhelming. So I understand it. And I'm certainly not going to put in a complaint because I didn't receive the abuse. But I am shocked by some of the things that I hear. So I'd like to just share with you some of the things that I've heard from clients, so that if it relates to you, you'll understand and you will do something about it, because it's intrinsically wrong. Okay, it's very wrong. It's not healing. It's not therapy. If they're not going through, that's why I'm saying, if you're on medication that doesn't allow you to navigate your brain and the parts of your brain that have been injured from abuse, how the hell are you going to heal? And all you'll be doing in that talk therapy is re-ingraining the very pain that you're wanting to heal and release. Because when you talk, you're just rehashing it, right? So I do a lot of talking with people, but at the end of it, we do something to release it. So what we talk about is getting to the core of it. We're getting to the core of the emotions. We're getting to the core of the pattern, the belief system that's been created that creates this reaction in our emotions, right? So we're getting to the core of that. And then we do the work. So I don't take an hour with people. Anyone who's worked with me, they might think, oh yeah, she charges this, but I'm telling you it's worth every cent. Because I don't cut off at 50 minutes. I'm not going, okay, I've got to cut them off. Okay, next week, we'll continue this next week. No, I finish it. So you might think, oh, well, you know, she's earning this, she's charging this, she's earning this. I don't work 5 days a week. I don't see 5 clients in a day. I work 3 days a week and I see 3 people in a day. Sometimes 2, depending on who it is and what I'm doing. So I'm not a millionaire and I'm not abusing people financially, right? I'm not laughing all the way to the bank. But if I was part of the system, you would sit with me for 50 minutes to an hour. I would charge you more than what I charge you currently because you're getting it on health benefits. So I would charge you more. And I would see probably 8 to 9 people a day, usually 8, 5 days a week. And the good thing about it is that when I've seen you once, most of the time I'm going to see you for years. So it's an easy job for me. I just go in, I listen, write a few things, observe a few things. See you next week or see you next month. Crushy, but I chose not to do that. My decision, not yours. You don't have to feel anything around that. I'm just explaining to you why it's beneficial to go to someone like me, but also to give you some navigation of people that you're going to, if they're abusing you or they're hooking into you and making you addicted to them, so that you're going to them every week. And when you add it all up, it's going to cost you a lot more than coming to me or someone like me, right? You need to go to someone you feel comfortable with, you feel safe with. Because unless you feel safe, relaxed and comfortable, you're not going to go into your deep, dark stuff. And that can take a few weeks to build up to that, you know? So one story that comes to mind, you know, I told you earlier about the young guy that contacted me after all those years. Well, when I was working then, I was specialising in sexual abuse and in particular SRA. And he had a friend, a young friend, I think he was 19 at the time, who had suffered terrible abuse from his stepfather and his stepfather's friends when he was young. And he was going to a psychiatrist, and he didn't have any money, because people who have full memory of this, there's a difference between full memory and recovering your memories, and I'll do a video on that. But anyway, he had full memory, so he couldn't work, he couldn't really function in life, and he'd found this psychiatrist that he'd heard was really good. And he said to him, look, I'd really love to come and see you, but I don't have any money. And the guy said, well, that's okay, you know, you can come and see me. So he went to see him thinking, oh, I found someone who, you know, is going to treat me well and is really going to help me, you know, I'm relieved. And he gets in there and they do the session, and the guy says, now, you know, you said you couldn't pay me, so I've come up with a way that you can pay me. And he goes, oh, okay, what's that? Thinking, oh, is it wash the car or something? You know, it's suck my dick. And this young man was going to this guy, and at the end of every session, he was doing something sexual for this man. So here he is, going to a psychiatrist for help around sexual abuse, and he's being abused at the end of it. So how the hell is that helping him? So his mate told me about this, and I was full up at the time. My thing is that I want to work with people quickly, and I developed certain techniques to help people. So I had a turnover, but I didn't have that quicker turnover. So for instance, someone might come and see me for 3 months. Some others did see me for 18 months, which is a hell of a lot shorter than 20 years. That's what I'm saying about the financial thing. It all balances out in the end, right? And some, you know, 6, it just depends. And some of them would see me for maybe 3 months every week. We'd get to the real deep, yucky stuff, and they would be getting into life and having some resemblance of a normal life and everything. And they'd only come and see me when they really needed it. So the way that I worked my schedule at the time, because at that time I didn't, I worked 6-7 days a week actually. I actually exhausted myself, but I was young. I could do it then. But I still didn't do the hour thing either. So I said to the guy, okay, you know, get him to ring me. So I had certain days that I would see people that were returns, like so someone who'd seen me for a few months and only needed to see me once every now and again if they had something come up for them, right? So I had these days that were, sometimes I'd have 2 people, sometimes I'd have 3, right? So I had a flexible, 2 days that were flexible like that. So anyway, I thought, oh, just put him in that day and I'll see him. And in walks this young man. He was about 6'2", very tall, beautiful, round, angelic face. Sad young man. And he, you know, some people you'll meet really touch your heart. You just can't. I remember being in sessions and I would say to clients, oh, you know, I just have to leave the room. And I would go and have a cry. And I'd have a cry and compose myself and then go back into the room, because if I'm devoid of emotion to you, how am I going to connect with you? But I don't want to pity you either. I can't stop myself from feeling. And this is what happens with a lot of psychiatrists and therapists. They go on medication to stop themselves from feeling, which is why they're not helping you. I can't tell you how many I know are on meds and they're self-medicating. I'm being honest right here now. They're self-medicating. So they can't connect with you. And so part of your pain is emotional. And if you don't feel an emotional connection with someone that is of a higher vibration emotionally, how are you going to heal? So he told me his story, and I said to him, look, I'm happy to work with you, and we'll do it by donation, because a lot of my clients at the time, I had various different clients. So I had those that couldn't work. They would do donations. So some of them would pay me $1, $2 for a session, you know. And then I had very wealthy families come to see me. People from wealthy families would come and see me from literally all over the world, and that was to do with SRA. And they would pay a considerable amount to see me, right? So that kind of balanced things out. Now, I wasn't wealthy at all, but it balanced things out in the sense that I could see people that didn't have the money to see me. I don't do that much anymore because I work in a different way now, and my pricing is different, and people are different, things are different. I don't do that so much. Now, I am thinking about doing something that will be free for groups, but that's just ruminating with me. I'm trying to figure out how I'll do it. And anyway, so I started to see him. I think I saw him maybe 6 months. And eventually he moved overseas and got a job and was happy with his life. Now, I'm not saying that he was deliriously happy the rest of his life, because shit happens in life and we have to navigate it. What I'm saying is that he was recovered enough that he could actually hold down a job, but not only that, feel strong enough to actually change country. And in Australia, that's a huge thing. Going overseas is a massive thing. To leave Australia and go somewhere else is a massive thing. And that was part of his healing, to get away from where and whatever had happened to him. So to have a fresh start, for people to know him as a different person. Very interesting young man. So these sort of things happen. And look, that's just one story. I could tell you dozens of stories like that. And that sickens me. It sickens me to think that individuals have gone to someone for help around a certain subject and they're getting abused in the same way that they were abused, that they're seeking help for. What the hell is that? It's disgusting, right? So I'm not saying that, look, I know psychiatrists and psychotherapists personally that are amazing. Amazing people who genuinely want to help, that are not on medication, and they're not going to put you on medication unless there's something biochemically wrong, and are genuinely going to help you. And they're the ones you need to seek out. If you don't seek out someone like me, you need to seek them out. If you're going to someone and their whole answer is medication, I am begging you to look somewhere else. And at the same time, I'm telling you, don't go off those meds unless it's under supervision and unless it's just for anxiety or depression. If you have schizophrenia, if you have psychotic episodes, if you have severe bipolar, things like that, don't go off your meds. Don't go off your meds. My biggest advice to you is get into creativity. Do something creative with your life, because individuals like you are very connected to different realms of reality, right? So if you hook into the realm of reality around creativity, that will help you no end. And in fact, that's what they used to do in the 1800s, early 1900s with individuals like you. They would get you into creativity, get you into garden, get you into painting, sculpture, all sorts of things, and put you in an environment that was peaceful and calm, and feed you organic food. That's what they did for you. We don't do that anymore because Big Pharma has figured out there's more money in damaging your brain and keeping you permanently damaged than there is in helping you. And if you have children that are presenting with depression or anxiety, and particularly at the moment, don't put them on medication. Calm them down, help them to feel safe, connect with them. They're looking for a safety and security. That's why they're feeling that way. Listen to what they're feeling. Don't negate what they're feeling. If a child says to you, I'm afraid, and you go, oh, don't be afraid. There's, that's silly. You shouldn't be afraid. There's no reason to be afraid. Oh, that's silly. They're afraid. It's a genuine feeling. Okay, what are you afraid of? What do you think they're going to do to you? Okay, what can we do to stop them from doing it to you? The boogeyman or the person outside. Okay, you're here with me. You know what? I am going to defend you. I'm going to fight off those boogeymen. I'm not going to let them anywhere near you. Hold them in your arms. Children go through different stages of psychic development as well as physical, emotional, and mental development. And in that stage of psychic development, they see and hear things, and then they get put on meds for it. There's a different way to navigate that as parents. So I'm asking you to really, really look at how you see medication today, because it seems to be the answer for everything. And unfortunately, it's long term and it does do damage. And I want to say this, if you've been on medication for a long period of time and you've decided to wean yourself off, the type of medication I've spoken about, you decide to wean yourself off, consider going on Brahmi, ashwagandha, and what's it called? Astragalus. And also for kids, look at passion flower. Not those things, but passion flower. If you want to calm the kids down from their anxiety or whatever, look at passion flower as a herb, right? Because it helps the nervous system. But if you're going off meds, you've been on meds for a long period of time and you feel it's done some damage. And not only medication, it's also drugs like crack cocaine and stuff like that. Does brain damage. Same thing. It's the same thing. You're not realizing. Just because it's coming from a medical professional and it's not illegal doesn't mean it's not putting friggin' holes in your brain, mate. Please understand this. I can't stress it enough. So look at Brahmi, ashwagandha, and astragalus. Look them up and see which ones would be beneficial for you. I would say Brahmi is your number one. Ashwagandha and astragalus you can look at and see, can I incorporate those, which one resonates with you best, and also look at a bit of passion flower as well. If you can, go on the liquid herb, not the capsule or tablet. And the reason I say that is because when you're on meds, on medication and things, usually that develops a problem with your stomach, and you don't digest or get the nutrients out of food or other things as well as you would. So it's a stomach-brain barrier. I want you to investigate that if you feel compelled. It's a really important factor. So your stomach, the bacterial function, and how can I say, the words are, I'm missing the words. I know the words, but they're missing for me right now. It's called menopause. So your stomach isn't operating properly, your digestive system isn't operating properly, so it's harder to break down and receive what you need from those substances. But when you take it as a liquid, it more quickly goes in. So what I mean by that is sometimes when you take vitamins or minerals, it can take 6 to 8 weeks for you to feel the effect on it in your physical body, because you're only getting a small amount of what you're taking, because your body isn't used to breaking it up. Your body isn't used to receiving it either. But when you take liquid form, your body receives it more easily. So it could take 2 to 3 weeks before you feel the difference. It's faster. That's why I'm suggesting the liquid form. But, if you can't get it, you can't get it, do the other. And look at taking some really good thing like slippery elm and Aphidophilus and bifidus and things like that to re-establish the stomach and its lining, right? So just look at your gut and look at these herbs, and I think you'll find some solutions there. But do that gradually. So if you are going off meds with supervision, then I want you to incorporate these things gradually to help your brain to heal, because it can take up to 6 months to go off these meds slowly. 6 months. How long did they give you to get off heroin and crack when they put you in a... Yeah, and what happens to you? It's horrible. Same shit. I'm telling you, it's the same shit. So before you make a decision to go on any medication, look at the alternatives to that. Don't look for a fast fix, because that's what medication is for. It's a fast fix. Shut up, do as I say, calm down and become a responsible member of society. What the hell is that if you can't express yourself? And what is it going to mean to mankind long term? I have no idea, but I don't think it's good. Now, I have a knowing, because I talk to guidance, which is why I'm not in mainstream therapy. You know, I have an idea that new things are going to come about that are going to change all of that. They're going to change a lot of things. But they're going to have to go into battle with Big Pharma. And I know there are a lot of products, the products that I use, they're constantly in battle with Big Pharma. Constantly. Big Pharma is constantly wanting to shut it up, dismantle it, sue it, do everything they can do to close it down, because they want to have full reign and sovereignty over you. Not just your mind, but your emotions and your body. And that disconnects you from your spirit. And when I see people disconnected from their spirit, it hurts my spirit, because we're all one. So on that note, I'm going to love you and leave you, and I thank you for listening. And I know that this was a long video, but it was an important one for me to share with you, to get this off my chest. I don't know how many people are going to listen to this, but I really hope before you make the decision that you look around, you shop around. If you go to someone and you feel uncomfortable in any way, leave. Don't take the meds. Bye for now and lots of love. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and do all of that, because a lot of people watch this but they don't subscribe to my channel, so I don't get bumped up. And I need people to hear this. Bye for now, lots of love.